Today we're taking a look at the brand new Sigma 24-70mm f2.8 Mark II. Now, in case you missed it, Sigma just announced a brand new 24-70mm f2.8 Mark II, which is the successor to their 24-70mm f2.8 DGDN Mark I. And with this lens, there are a few key updates that do improve upon that Mark I version, which we'll talk about here today. Now, before I break down my thoughts on this lens, I do want to give the disclaimer that Sigma did send me this lens to test out, but as always, I'm not getting paid and I get to say whatever I want. And so you are going to get my full and honest opinion. Now, with that said, let's break down my thoughts on this lens, starting first with the overall image performance. If you follow the channel at all, you know I'm a huge fan of the original 24-70mm f2.8. And in my experience with using this lens, it really just improves upon what the original 24-70 offered. Just like the original version, you are going to get an amazing image all the way through the focal ranges from 24mm to 70mm. And with the f2.8, you are going to get some beautiful bokeh and subject isolation. Now, talking about improved image performance, you are going to see really good focus breathing control. This is something that I think Sigma is paying attention to a lot more lately, and I absolutely love it. Beyond that, you are going to get improved autofocus with their HLA autofocus system. And so, like I said before, the 24-70 Mark I already is an amazing lens optically, and the Mark II only improves on that. And so it should be no surprise that I'm really happy with the overall image performance of this lens. So with that, let's talk about the build of the lens, because honestly, that is one of the other big selling points for this Mark II version. Now, with this Mark II, you are going to have a lens that is 7% smaller and 10% lighter. And I'll put both lenses on the screen with overall size specifics, and so you can see how they compare. Honestly, it's kind of like the 24-70 went on like a summer diet and lost a couple of lbs. And so with that, honestly, it's a little bit smaller. So if you are trying to just reduce the overall weight of your bag, it may help to pick up the Mark II. Is it exponentially smaller? Maybe not, but it does shed a little bit of weight from the original version. Did I just say lbs? I'm sorry. Now, one thing I do appreciate is with the reduced size, you are still keeping that 82mm filter thread. Beyond that, it also has pretty much all the buttons and switches that the Mark I had. I believe there's an extra autofocus lock button, but you will have a manual focus and autofocus switch, a zoom lock ring for storage, and a couple of switches that will deal with the aperture ring, which is the other improvement on the Mark I, is now there is a physical aperture ring with the Mark II version, which you do have the ability to have clicked or declicked. The lens will also have a dust and splash resistant body and an oil repellent coating. And so let's talk about who this lens is for. Honestly, the Mark I was one of the lenses that if you're an L mount, or even for that matter, an E mount user, and you're looking for one lens to have in your bag, the Mark I was one that I always recommended because of how good it was and what it offered. And the Mark II only builds on that. And so if you are looking for a solid lens that is that one lens that you have in your bag, this is absolutely one to check out. Now, if you already own the Mark I version, do you necessarily need this new version? That's really up to you. If you do want to shed weight in your bag, if you want better and quieter autofocus, and if you do want the physical aperture ring, if you like that physical aperture ring on the lens, then that may be reason enough to check out the new Sigma 24-70mm f2.8 Mark II. And so that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like. And if you're digging the overall content from the channel, consider subscribing. As always, thank you for joining. Go and find your journey. Go embrace life. Peace.